Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish. How can it be we're still doing this show from our homes a year and a half later? All right, that's another subject, I
Wait,
guess.
how is it that we started a show and it's become like a thing? I mean, that was just going to be like me and you chatting like really briefly. So anyway, thanks to
Okay,
all
never
the
mind.
viewers, right? All the fans. Thanks to the fans.
Yeah, thank you,
It's been
fans.
good. How are you? Did you have a good weekend?
I did. How about you?
You know, I did. Sometimes we complain on here. Can I complain a tiny bit? Not about like any one thing, but
These are
like
my favorite shows. Go ahead. Go for it.
I worked hard last week. Like I keep saying this. It's summer. We should be like kind of like gearing up for like the really busy time. Last week was all writing for me.
Mhm.
Writing all the weekend. I did make it out to the mountains a couple times, like for an hour or two here or there. But like other than that, I've been like heads down writing. So it's been crazy. It's been a little crazy. This girl needs a break. I need a
Good.
work break.
Well, you don't get a break. Just warning you, Trish, in case FYI, I'm taking a break next week. I'm
I
out.
know.
I'm incommunicado. I'm not reachable. Well, that's not true, really, but I'm
But
out.
mostly, yeah. You won't be on the work break. But you know what? It's fun because I have 3 very special different guests to
Mhm.
come join me that have I don't think any of them have been on with me before. So
Oh,
this
that's
will be
cool.
interesting. That's always a little scary too
Yeah.
because we kind of for us this is normal just coming on live, right? And talking to people and asking questions and talking about our day or whatever, whether it's, good content or not, right? But no, a lot of people want like a script, like what are we going to talk about and what do we do to prepare? And I'm like,
I've
I
maintained
literally
fairly, yeah, I've maintained fairly low editorial standards for my content for
I
a
know.
decade plus now, which is helpful, I found.
You know what? That keeps it real. So, hey, I have some content today because
All
I
right.
love that we never tell each other. So, this one, I read this the other day and I thought, oops, saving that for Steve on the work break. So, have you heard of the Flintstone house in Northern California? It's like in a San Francisco suburb.
I have not.
So, this woman bought this house let me get this right, 2017. And it's in
Okay.
a very posh, like, neighborhood with like homes well in the millions, right? Multi-million dollar homes, right? And they're not incredibly big. A little over 2,000 square foot house. I'm going to say
Mhm.
house in quotes because it looks like you're going to the Flintstones, right? It's like
Okay.
all bubbly and round, and there's life-size dinosaurs everywhere. There's Fred Flintstone in the front yard, and all the characters and life-size figures of them. And this woman, it kind of makes me mad. Actually, I don't live there. It kind of makes me mad because the neighbors are all in an uproar. Obviously, this doesn't
Okay.
fit with the neighborhood aesthetics of what you
Neighborhood
would want to look at
people
all
are
day long.
pesky.
Right. But here's the deal. So they've done work stop orders and things like that on her building, but she just won a settlement with
Mm.
the city, $125,000 settlement to drop her lawsuit because she says she's being harassed.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, so I guess my question is sort of twofold. Like, would you be bothered if you were a homeowner and someone started building a Star Wars or
Yeah.
you name it, right? Tribute in their yard or make
I'd
their
like to
whole
think
house.
I wouldn't care, but yeah, I guess if you can sort of prove that it's materially reducing the value of your investment in your own real estate, yeah, I could see both sides of it a little bit. I guess I'd have to see it and see the neighborhood, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it's a tough call. I mean, because there's lots of stories, not as extreme as that one, but even like around here where I live, about like the neighborhood watch type people who are part of the
Oh,
homeowners association, just
right.
going like little mini terrorists around. Oh, your grass is too long, or oh, the mailbox is painted the wrong color.
Right.
Just dumb stuff like that people get themselves worked up about. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'll tell you what, I do sort of agree. If you move somewhere, you're new to this subdivision, whatever, if there are already rules in place, I feel like you're buying into the rules a little bit because you get that when you're buying a home. You get the homeowners
Yeah.
association guidelines or whatever. But yeah, I think if this is something where there's no rules or this person, then that's different, obviously.
I
But
think the other side
yeah,
of it is like if you're really trying really hard to not fit in, if you will, you're really trying hard to be a standout or that kind of thing. Maybe you shouldn't live around a lot of other people. Like maybe you should kind of find your own little 10-acre piece of land somewhere and put up your dinosaur museum there, right? So no one's gonna be bothered by it.
Here's the thing. The woman doesn't even live there. She comes and entertains her friends there, but her house is somewhere else. Then I'm kind of like, okay, you're not even fully invested in this lady. You're not even living there. But I think honestly, I wouldn't like it if my neighbor had a Fred Flintstone house, but I'd be okay with it. I think it gets to the dinosaurs and all of the other stuff where I'd be like, all right, I really don't want to like get creeped out in my front yard looking at big dinosaurs. But anyway, so I have one other quick one. I read a really cool article on how to reduce being distracted. I don't know if you're like that, but I feel
only
like
got a quarter of the way through that article, and then
and you were distracted.
Yeah, something happened. But yeah.
No, so obviously we've heard of some of the things like focusing on one thing at a time and doing just sort of like looking around at what's focusing on one thing in the room at a time to kind of calm your mind down. I'm someone who my mind is all over the place all the time. But one of the tips I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to see what you thought, it was called mindful walking or open monitoring. So like, in other words, if you're outside, you're really just trying to be super present in your walk, in your exercise. So I guess my question for you is, you jog, you walk, you're outside a lot. Do you do that? Is that something that like is a normal? Like I wouldn't do that.
I guess. I don't know. I've never really thought about it, but I generally will listen to a podcast or two while I'm outside walking or jogging, right? So I'm listening to that. But the podcasts are not super heavy. They're generally about basketball, typically. Like those are the ones I listen to just for fun, right? So it's not a heavy mental exercise to like have guys debate about which team's going to win the game or the last game that just got played. So it's kind of, so I guess in some ways I'm using it to kind of not have to think too hard about anything, and I'd rather think about something that's more interesting or fun. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'd like to know. I'm like you. If I'm out on a track jogging or walking or whatever, I have earbuds in. I'm listening to music. I actually have like a certain playlist. I even listen to the same songs over and over. So I just wonder if that would really be different, or if there are people out there, let us know. Like if you're someone that goes out, like nothing, no earbuds, whatever, in your ears.
Yeah, no, I always have something to listen to. I wouldn't like not having anything.
I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if it helps.
I have to report this because it came out today. Trish, last Friday was Jobs Friday. If you caught my solo work break, you might have heard me talk about that. It's a really gangbuster jobs report, almost 1 million jobs added. Trish, today it's the JOLTS report. My favorite labor market report came out this morning. Job openings and labor turnover survey for June, because it's a 1 month lag. It's the jobs report. Trish, take a guess. How many open jobs in the United States on the last business day of June?
2 million.
Trish, you consistently guess way too low on this number.
Seriously?
10.1 million open jobs, shattering the record of 9.5 million set in the month before. 10 million open jobs in the United States, most ever recorded in the history of them recording this.
Really?
The available worker, the officially unemployed worker to job opening ratio dipped under 1 for the first time since the pandemic started. There are more jobs technically open than there are available workers to fill them now in the United States. Yeah. Finally, Trish, voluntary quits, a sign of confidence in the labor market or being fed up with your job. 3.9 million, just under the all-time record of 4 million in April. Quits before the pandemic, Trish, quits were about 2 million per month. Right. And lastly, because we all love the data, pre-pandemic, Trish, there was about 152.5 million in the workforce, total non-farm. I don't know why the farmers don't get counted, but they don't. 152.5 million people working in the United States.
Right.
As of the end of July, that number is 146.8 million. So we're just about 5 million workers short of pre-pandemic. So basically meaning 3/4 of the jobs have been recovered more or less since last April. How about that? 10 million open jobs. That's a crazy number.
But yet I know tons of people who cannot get work because the jobs that are available are paying less than unemployment. So again, until like the more help, I don't know, this is not a political statement. I'm just saying the more money we give people to stay home, they're not going to work. Like you want people to have support, right? If they're out of work, but yet if you keep giving extension after extension after extension,
Yeah, that
people are not going back to work because they can't afford to.
well, those
I would be
schemes are
stupid if I'm unemployed making
yeah.
more money than if I can go get a job.
Those schemes are unwinding for sure, and I've
Have
read a
we
lot
been
about this,
there?
Trish. The data is really mixed, right? There's some data that suggests that those schemes that you've talked about, those extended unemployment and the enhanced
Yeah,
benefits in
yeah.
certain locations, have definitely kept people out of the workforce. There's other data sets that suggest not so much, or has a very, very small effect. And what's really keeping folks out of the labor force are things, wages is one, but safety, health and safety protocols, schools not yet
Absolutely.
being reopened, childcare issues, et cetera. And now, sadly, there's a lot more cases running around in the United States, and than there was even just 2 months ago, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting, but between the jobs number last Friday and the JOLTS number this morning, right? The labor market is very, very, it's in recovery mode, full recovery mode, and it's getting really tight. And wages are definitely going up. That was part of last week's report too, especially in those sectors that are trying to hire the most people: leisure, hospitality, hotels, bars, restaurants, et cetera, right? They've all been raising wages, and all the big mass market. I talked about this last Friday. Some of the big employers: Target, Costco, Walmart, McDonald's, right?
Mhm.
All raising wages to one level or another. Amazon's done it famously for a while now. So it's a really interesting labor market for sure. But 10 million open jobs is a staggering number, Trish. That number was about
Well,
7 million prior to the pandemic.
I would say also let's see what happens in the next month or two, because as high school and college students go back to school, they will likely, get out of more of the jobs they've been doing for the last 3 or 4 months. So I think we'll see those types, hospitality and,
Mhm.
restaurants and those sorts of things going back up. Yeah, I think it's really hard though. I would love to see more in-depth numbers on kind of people who are at that mid-level professional, because I think that's where they're finding it very difficult. Those jobs are not there, or they're not paying well. So again,
I'll break that down. I'll look at that. Maybe we'll talk more on Wednesday about it. And the last
yeah.
thing, we should go, but I want to talk this week before I go off on my little week off. I want to talk employer mandated vaccinations. We got to talk about that on this show this week.
Oh, let's definitely do that. Okay, we'll catch that one later this week. I did want to put up here, we've got one comment from our friend Tom Horn. Hey, Tom. So this was back to the mindfulness thing. Just started 2 weeks ago. Oh, great experience. Interesting. All right, so I'm going to try it. Tom, you've got my commitment. I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to try and just be more present in enjoying nature and not filling my head with more stuff, right? Like all the time. Unless it's the HR happy hour. Fill your
That's a
head with it all day long,
must
right?
listen. New one
All right.
coming out tomorrow, by the way. So.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, listen, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a work break. This girl needed one for sure. Sounds like Steve did as well. So, have a good rest of your day, and we will catch you back here on Wednesday.
There's a button you're supposed to hit to end the show.